Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I am your host, GameChanger. Okay, so the election results, you would think that it would be over by now, the residual effects of the election results. But it's one of those things that just lingers in the air. It just lingers out there in the soul of people who, let's just face it, and the soul of Black women. It just lingers there because of what it represents. You see, their perception of reality, and this is the ultra leftist one, is if they're in that camp and their circle is this and this, then it's safe to say that they believe that the entire country felt the way that their circles do. And that is that there is a hierarchy based on oppression. The more oppressed you are, the more you are on the hierarchy, meaning that people will attempt to balance the scale for that reason. So this whole queen, oh my queen is prevalent in certain circles. But what the election revealed is it's nowhere near, it's not even close to being, how the entire nation feels, which sucks for BWs. Hit the like button, which really sucks for BWs because that's what they've been pushing for. See, they have been pushing for quite some time for the world, or at least this country, to see them as natural leaders. They always wanted to be seen in a leadership position, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They always wanted to be the poster child for this or that, whether it's Harriet Tubman, or whether it's Rosa Parks. They wanted to be seen in this particular way. They wanted to condition people to see them as natural leaders. And come to find out that it's just the opposite. It's not even close. All of this push, all of this magic, all of this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not even close. And they've sacrificed everything, including their standing as women. Let's be clear, their standing as women is in the bottom. It's because they sacrificed it to be seen as in a more masculine light and competent in masculine areas. And they have faltered something tremendously. They have. So they sacrificed everything and wound up with nothing. And that's what this election really represents to them. Unfortunate, sad, but true. Hit that like button because we're going to get deep into it today. So now they're looking for retaliation. They're looking for someone to point the finger at, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where we're at. But deeper into the topic of today, and what I just said was loosely related. Where we're at now is, why are they like this? A lot of people are asking the question, why are they like this? When really what we should focus on is the fact that they are like this. Like, no matter what, they are like this. You see, it really doesn't matter because women are not going to ask you that. You can't make excuses. If you don't have a quality that they like, they're not going to say why. They're just going to reject. If say you're 5'4" or something like that, and you say, well, I can't help it because my parents didn't give me Pedialyte as if they do not care. Well, my father is short, but he was rich. They do not care. They do not care. If you do not have the qualities that they like, they don't care. If you don't have enough money to keep them in a lifestyle that they feel that you should, then they're not going to say, oh, you can't say, well, my ex-wife, she took all my money, and they don't care. So really just take in a grain of salt everything that you're about to hear about the past. Like, oh yes, we're like this because blah 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 blah. Don't care. Don't care. The conclusion is today, I do not find what you're selling worth the cost. We're going to get into that. Go ahead and shout yourself out in the chat room. I will read it. And in the meantime, let me go ahead and play the short of the day. Hit the like button. Now, this short is from a guy who used to go by the name of One Master Teacher. Now he goes by Skylar Daron, I think it is. And it's longer than most shorts, but I do want to go over this. It says, what Brazilian women think about relationships.
Controversial statement. That's a controversial statement. But I've never, since the whole time I was here in Brazil, I've never had, well, I've had one, I say one or two Brazilian girls who were trying to lock me down in a relationship. It's just not that way here. It's more free, it's more open. It's the exact opposite in Thailand and the Philippines. Those women are pushing, sorry for the camera. Those women are pushing for a relationship. Hey, why don't we become boyfriend and girlfriend? Oh, am I your girlfriend? Is this a relationship? They ask those questions. And they're more aggressive when it comes to relationships. But how Brazilian women do it and how women in Thailand do it, there's no right or wrong. That's why I tell you guys, you have to pretty much pick your poison. There's no utopia.
Okay. It's sad what he's saying. Well, it's really not. I mean, when he says pick your poison, I mean, he's saying that one country has extraordinarily attractive women, where they just want to jump your bones. And that is something that is very true about Brazil. That's something that I've come to realize in my experience there. And then there's another country where the women are not as attractive. You're not going to find many D cups there. You're not going to find many bombshells in the Philippines and Thailand, but they are going to be fit, feminine, and friendly. Emphasis on the feminine. But they do expect commitment from you. That's on the other hand. He's saying pick your poison. Neither of those things are necessarily poisonous because they benefit you. This is it's kind of like Kool-Aid or soda type poison without any poison in it. On one hand, like both of them, you get the sugar, you get the calories, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but they at least taste good. At least you benefit from them. What poison? That girl is poison. What poison are they selling you in the US? Think about that for a second.
Brazil, I don't consider Brazil a utopia. I don't consider Thailand and the Philippines a utopia. I don't consider any country a utopia. You have to pick your poison. I'm picking the Brazil poison. Utopia. Because in my opinion, and this is why I like Brazil, by the way, okay? And we're going to keep it real. Skylar, you do the pay for play. That's what they say. That's what they say. Skylar, you do the pay for play. So you can't talk about relationships. You can't talk about advice. Well, look, let's do some ninja math really quick. Okay? And no matter what country you go to, your eights, women who are considered an 8, a 9, and a 10 are either a sugar baby, they are a straight pro, or they sell box on the side, or they monetize themselves in some type of way.
That's not true. Especially in the US, that's not true. However, when you are older, and Skylar is 40 and I'm in my 40s, or Skylar is about to be 40, who knows? Okay. That's true when you have money. I shouldn't even say age, because that's not even a thing. That's true when you have money. Once you have money, they're going to want it. Whether or not, one could argue that she might have been interested in you if you were poor, but you're not poor. You have money and she wants it. That's the end all be all. That's what it's going to come down to. You know, I mean, but there are like Megan Goods, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I mean, there are situations like that. What are y'all doing in the
It's
chat
the
room?
way the world has moved. It wasn't like this 5 years ago. It wasn't like this 7 years ago. But in 2024, I'm going to say it again. Your 8s, 9s, and 10s are monetized. That is not debatable.
And he just said in Thailand and Philippines, well, it's not many 8s, 9s, and 10s there, to be perfectly honest. However, there aren't many 1s, 2s, and 3s out there either. They tend to stay consistently in the center 6.
Almost all of them. Okay? They find guys who finesse. They find guys to finesse and to support their lifestyle. Not on sugar baby websites. They're not all on sugar baby websites, because today you don't even need a sugar baby website. You just need an Instagram with a lot of followers and engagement. And the DMs are going to flow. The blue checks, the men with money are going to go into those DMs. Okay? So your 8s, 9s, and 10s are monetized.
Okay, he does bring up a point, and that is here. Let me stop this. And that is Instagram, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, has encouraged women to. You can't have a product and that gets that much buzz without a person thinking about commoditizing that product. So the mentality has changed. The mentality has changed between the way an 8, 9, and 10 would view herself, because you know she's now viewing herself in the eyes of society. And yeah, the temptation is going to be there. So that is a true thing that he said. All right, so let's look at the comment section. Let me just first give some shout outs. Primetime VA, salute to you. Snazzy, peace. Ray, peace. I'm going to do movie night again today, Ray. Probably later this afternoon. I got some things I gotta take care of. Let's see. Dolomite, peace. What is this? Celeste V. Ratcliffe. Is that Celeste's full name? But appreciate you. Anthony, salute. Let's see, is that it? I already said one D forever. Peace. All right, so let's read some of your comments. What up, Snazzy? I just got done seeing this. Oh, you're talking about the Skylar thing? Okay, please. Brazil been biting by that modern woman bug, or have been bitten by that modern woman bug with the feminist ideology. No, not even close. Okay, here's the thing. There's many aspects of feminism. One that Brazil does share, but it's not the same. They share that aspect, and that is this whole, sexual liberation thing, which is really born from a female desire to please their mate. Unlike modern feminism, who wish to just oppress men. It's not born of hatred of men. They're not out, getting freaky with you and fulfilling the desires of both the men and women in the situation out of malice towards men. It's a completely different thing. This title is not true. The title, what, Chrissie versus SWP? Did black men choose? Well, it's a question. Okay, let's see. This title is not true enough. White women are liars. White women are frauds. Black women, in exception, are escaping that lie. Okay, if you're talking about feminism, are they? Okay, let's look at the last election results, right? And one candidate was obviously more feminist than the other. Black women voted for that candidate and white women didn't. So who's still on feminists? Like who still voted for the baby deleter more? So I don't know. I wasn't there for the 60s and 70s and all that stuff, but yeah, I mean it was something, whoever started it, it was something that was embraced heavily. It was something that was embraced heavily by Black American women. Oh, a new edition. What, Poison? That's a Bill Biv DeVoe, man. What up, G's? What up? What up with you, Anthony? You ugly white bee. Are you talking about an individual? You're lying. You're lying. You can't have all of the whole at the same time. At the same time as what? Psychologically, your brain doesn't work that way. Either you put on the perfume and you taste like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I know you're using an analogy, but I'm not sure. What do they all taste like? Chicken? I don't. I haven't tasted anybody that tastes like chicken. The F is chicken. B, nothing, you stupid W. Who are you talking to? Is there a white woman there that in the chat room that you're talking to that tastes like chicken? Okay, this all right. Yeah, it's not 100% true. It's top tier women in Europe and Japan that are married to regular. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he is making a point, and I think definitely with his reality, living in Brazil as he is, and meeting the women that he's interested in online, I think that if you live on social media in Brazil, then that is definitely going to be the reality. But that's true if you live on social media in Florida, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The truth of the matter is, especially for 8s, 9s, and 10s, is that their inbox is filled up. And even if they weren't 304s, they have to find a way to cull the herd. So they're like, okay, I'm gonna auction this off now. Let's see. The essence of womanhood have been sabotaged by white B's, white W's. Okay. When I say top tier, I'm talking looks. Everybody is. That's what makes a woman top tier. Even on the plantation, they were, let's see. Why the fuck would you think that they were these class matters? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna only because you got a lot of them. Probably skip those comments. Let's see. My thing is, I'm gonna make her 8, 9, and 10. Thicken her up. Not too much. Majors is still younger than him. I think you mean her. And I feel she thinks that he's as handsome as she is pretty. Possibly, and quite possibly he is. I'm not a woman. I mean, of course, you know, I can determine extreme outliers, but people like Majors, I mean, he made it this far. He can't be too grotesque, and he's an in shape dude. So yeah, that could very well be a factor. All right, but I know he looks better than O'Shea, though. Yeah, ha! Hit the like button. All right. Oh, what are you? Okay, so it's more of that. All right, let's see. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Why are you wilding out in the chat? But hey, you want to wild out, then that's fine. Other countries are nowhere near as bad as America when it comes to feminism. It's usually not the same type of feminism. Absolutely, absolutely. Like American feminism is. I mean, feminism is born and sustained of privilege. Point blank. Period. Like when the Wi-Fi is working, the lights is working, and everything is going on, and you're still looking for something to complain about because that's what they do. Bees be, that's when feminism comes about. That's when it rears its head. Like that is a privilege of privilege. Feminism is a privilege of privilege. The wealthier your nation is, the more feminism you have. We have the most because we are the wealthiest. A wild country isn't going to change in a few years. Women in other countries will be feminists and still respect men. Not the case in America. They're not feminists. They're not feminist. If you respect men, you're not feminists. Just like you're not a follower of the mustache guy in the 1940s. If you respect the star people, you're not a crip if you respect Bloods. I mean, come on now. A whole. Brazil is still in the early stages. Probably. Probably. Who knows what the future will hold for them? While white women have their bad apples, they still aren't worse than black women. We gotta stop saying this. Compare relationship problems men have with black women versus white women. Absolutely, absolutely. It's not even close. And it's not okay. Feminism exists in this country, yes, and this is ground zero for feminism. Nevertheless, the visceral hostility that comes from the B Dub is outpaces each and every single group of women in the world that has ever existed ever. Like never in history can I think of a group of women who has um, done so much to undermine the progress of their own men for such a long period of time. I haven't, and I don't think I ever will. White women still get married, black women don't. Nope, this is true. I don't know about that because they don't get much of our Western culture stuff down there. Yeah, and that's the thing. And not only that, they don't seem to want it. Like culture, the by the means that culture is transmitted, which is media and television, they don't even do that. They don't even watch that. They don't even learn English to watch an episode of Sex in the City. So if it spreads, it'll spread extremely slowly. Most of Latin America, and I include Brazil in that, is content with their life the way it is. Now, there are people in places like the Philippines, there are women there who aspire to be like American women, but, poverty keeps that in check. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. They're just rambling angrily for some reason. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Okay. Somebody really don't like European women. All right. Let's see. I think you mean think. Scholars on some other LOL. I don't know. I mean, he's living a life. Since retiring from the military, content has changed. Maybe. American feminism brings everybody down, especially the kids. Well, I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, and particularly Black American feminism, because some women will protest and rally, but they will only take it so far. They will only take it so far. B Dubs will take it to the wire. White women and Spanish women don't hate their men. They like some of the benefits, but they don't understand the hostility Black women show men. Absolutely. What's this? A computer. All right. All right. So now let's get into the topic of the day. So, no, I didn't. All right. Anyway, let's get into the topic of the day. Hit that like button while I prepare the video that we are going to discuss. So, oh, not the EBT video, downloads. So basically, it's common in this space where people state that Black women have chosen welfare over family, that they sold the men out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in order to be on welfare, because the government gave them a check to do so. And she is going to argue against that. And I'm willing to listen to that argument because, once again, I really don't care what past events led them to behave this way now. I just care that they behave this way now. I don't watch the whole thing, but I don't think that she's ever going to show a future plan to change said behavior. In fact, I know that she's not. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I never really did like a deep dive into the history of this, as some people have, because once again, it really don't matter, and that's what Sergeant Willie P. Don't seem to understand. You know, oh, it's about building. You got to build and sustain, and blah 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 blah. It's like, listen, they don't care about that. If you build it, they will come. No, they won't. No, they won't. Listen, here is the truth of the matter: that people like Sergeant Willie P., the hopefuls of the world, will never really understand, embrace, or grasp. And that is that never in the history of humanity has women have greater benefits, greater quality of life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Never have they had greater freedoms, benefits, quality of life than they do now in the West. They're never going to give that up. They like Western rule, and they fear African rule. They fear Asian rule. They don't know, whoever else take the reins. They don't know what they're going to be like. They could put them in some Handmaid's Tale stuff. They don't know, but they do know is that underneath this regime, they got their own credit cards. So this anything that follows that means nothing. Like, they're not going to try to put Black men in a position to take over, because the truth of the matter is they don't know what will happen, what a Black ruled world would look like. They don't, and they don't want to find out. So they're not going to back anything like that because they feel that they will lose out as women. That's the truth of the matter. Okay, Tony said, if you build it, they will destroy it. Like they'll let you build it. You think that they're going to wait for you to build it before they destroy it? Ask the Detroit 300 if they will wait for you to build it before they destroy it. You see, they don't chop down trees. They dig up seeds. Like before it even takes root, they dig up seeds. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Let's get it started in here. Press 1 if you can hear it.
To another live stream. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if you can hear me by pushing 1 in the chat.
Women in this picture are fat.
Let me check my audio. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Check my audio. Okay, I sound good on the playback. So we're going to go ahead and get started.
Okay.
I don't want to be on here too long. So I had some manosphere detractors crying about my last video as usual. So I wanted to address some of their feedback.
Okay.
And let's start with the Black men.
Okay.
Who got upset at me for saying that Black women aren't as patriarchal as white women because Black men didn't build a system that benefits Black women the same way white men have done for their women. Or actually, they did it.
Define benefit. I'm curious about that. Define benefit. The system. Yeah. I've always wondered what was meant by that. When she said, you know, and I don't think Sergeant Willie P knows either. Like, oh yes, it benefits them. It's like, why? Because they got like lemon squares or something. Like, you know, I don't, because this goes into what do you want? What do you want? How would you feel that you have benefited? And the only thing I could think of is luxury goods. Like, we haven't built a system that gains them access to luxury goods, but that's not really a systemic thing. So I don't think that they really know what they're talking about. I think that this is really just like, y'all have failed, so we are going to behave this way. And once again, do you, sweetie. I don't have to put up with that crap. It's like, okay, if you feel that we failed and you don't have to behave because of history, then all right. Peace. I mean, there's nothing you could do about that. What you're saying is that I'm never going to change, I'm never going to improve and be with you. Perfectly fine. I accept your conclusion and rationale. Let me tell you a story, a history about a city called Seas, right? Now, Rome, at least as they tell it, are descendants of Trojans. Meaning that, you know, after Greece, Achilles, the horse, the heel, you know, Paris, Hector, after all that happened, a group of refugees traveled west and they found a place called Rome. And then, you know, apparently either the women, the Trojan women, excuse me, were uncooperative or what have you, but, or they just couldn't make the voyage. But the Romans decided to get other wives. And they took them from a city called Sees. Sees, I believe. And they gave birth to Rome. So basically, when you're dealing with a bunch of uncooperative bitches, it, you find something else. But let's just talk about like all the other civilizations that was built. The women actually were with the men before it was built, and that's even like that's like every civilization ever. Like, did the Chinese wait for China to become China, until they became like the golden China before they actually started having Chinese children? That's stupid. That's stupid. It's like a parent say, "Hey, once you get a job, I'll give you an allowance." Like, what? Yeah. Once you get a job, I'll give you an allowance. Once you show me that you're responsible and managing money, then I'll give you some money. It's like, okay, Dad, I see that you simply don't want to give me an allowance and you just made up some BS. You just deliberately fabricated a catch-22 in order to save $5 a week or whatever, whatever the allowance is when I was growing up, right? Like, listen, don't play me. Like, just say you don't want to do it. Just say that you don't want to be decent women. But miss me with this. And Sergeant Willie P gave them this out. Miss me with this, oh, it's because you didn't build. No, it's because you don't want to do it.
Primarily for themselves, and it ended up benefiting the entire community or their entire community. And the response to me saying that was very, very typical from Black men. Nothing I've never heard before. They immediately went into how every time they try to build infrastructure, the evil white man burns it down. And since the evil, selfish,
I am not going into that because I really don't care. Like, why do you need infrastructure to have a household? Why are they comparing two different things? You notice that? Notice that they're comparing two different things. We're talking about households. You're talking about infrastructure. It's like, well, I'll move into your house on Maple Avenue once you build a skyscraper. What? Oh, yeah, we need some infrastructure. Is that just a fancy? Once again, these are all just fancy words to say I don't want to do it.
Black woman chose welfare and feminism over the Black men who were building and providing. That's another reason they couldn't do anything. So the argument is that Black women were so treasonous and disloyal and betrayed the Black man, and it's partially our fault and the white man's fault that they couldn't get anywhere, and their current condition is everyone else's fault but theirs. That is the argument. Black men are to blame for none of it. And, back when I was pro-Black community and pro-Black man, I would have absolutely given Black men the full excuse of white supremacy. But
okay, understand this. Black women, pro-Black Black women are only pro-Black Black women because it gives them a catalog of simps to choose from. Point blank, period. That is the only reason why they are pro-Black. And then once that collapses, just like it did with Sinji, they become hostily anti-Black men. Ever notice that? Ever notice how all these divestors, spoilers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You ever notice that they all used to be in the pro-Black community? And that's because pro-Black is where Black women went to initially manipulate men, Black men. Once they found out that that was unsuccessful, then that's when they got hostile. That's when they got hostile. They went to the pro-Black community to get to first of all, to find a community of men that they did not have to compete with white women for. Write that down. Black women go to pro-Black communities to find a community of men that they don't have to compete with other groups of women for. That is it. They don't care about the dashikis. They don't care about the jujubes. They don't care about the kente oil. They don't care about the incense. They don't care about the dreads. They don't care about any of that. Any of that. That means nothing. What they want is they want to find a loyal simp. Point blank, period. They want a loyal simp. They want an ethnically loyal simp. They do not find those that are also successful in these spaces. I'm going to repeat that. They don't find guys like that are also successful. It's full of simps. Pro-Black community is full of simps. But these simps are broke. Saying stuff like, oh, I refuse to work for the white man. And they selling incense on the street. You know, those guys.
The problem is Black women don't get that same courtesy from Black men. We don't get the luxury of blaming racism and white supremacy for all of our mistakes and shortcomings. So Black men, you're not going to get that courtesy from me. And I don't
know who she's talking to. Maybe she's probably talking to Southern Willie P. I don't really care. All right. Don't give me that courtesy. I really don't want it or need it. I don't give you any courtesy. I mean, take me as I am, and I'll not take you as you are. That's what we've been doing. That's where we're at. You see, she's still talking to pro-Black men who talk about white supremacy and blah, 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 blah. The moment a Black woman says, yes, well, you're going to have to tolerate me this way because of lack of infrastructure, I'm leaving. That is some ludicrous crap. Like, wait a minute. Lack of infrastructure, something that's completely unrelated, but lack of infrastructure is the reason that you can't get me a sandwich? Okay. Imagine if your kid said that. Imagine if your kids say, I'm not going to eat my vegetable because I don't have my own room. I got to share my room with my sister, so I'm not going to eat my vegetables. It's like, really? You just don't want to eat vegetables.
care who feels a way about it. I really don't care. I don't care if you think I'm evil. And like I said on my community tab post about this, if Black men as a collective are so easily controlled and their plans are so easily thwarted and they're always capable of being manipulated by women and other men over and over and over again.
Well, it's not really a matter of manipulation. Oh gosh. Listen to what she just said, first of all. I am going to be against you. Black women are against Black men. And then now her logic is, well, the reason why we're against you is because you can't handle the fact that we're against you. You see the circular logic here? Black women, y'all shouldn't get with black men because black men won't handle the fact that black women won't get with them.
Then they aren't true leaders or patriarchs.
Okay, fair enough. I won't be your leader or patriarch. That's perfectly fine.
Okay? White and non-black men have their flaws. Nobody is saying that they are perfect. However, they still build, they still pursue power regardless of feminism. Why?
Do they? Do they? Like, when in the building stages of anything was feminism as rampant as it was in white society? Somebody in the chat room, name me the Roman feminist. Someone in the chat room, name me the Greek feminist. In the early stages of development of European society, where were the feminists? Let me know.
Because they want the power for themselves as men. Black men, on the other hand, do not. And if all they can do is sit on the internet and blame women and white men for all of their failures, you're not patriarchs. It is what it is.
Straw man.
And I know that some of you are mad at me saying that, but I don't know how else to put it. Like, I still haven't heard a black man on this platform talk about their failures in a way that doesn't blame somebody else. I don't think
Because historical failures have nothing to do with current behavior. Why that? Okay. And this is once again why I disagree with Sergeant Willie P. And because he got these Ross thinking, he gave them an excuse. It doesn't matter. Past failures does not matter. Past failures does not matter. Once again, Rome was born out of a past failure, which was Troy. And they went back to conquer the Greeks. You know, like Germany was, in the Romans' eyes, a failed country. It was a failed culture. And they were far behind. And German women, if they thought like black women, fortunately for them, they don't. But if they did, they would just say, "Oh, you guys have failed. So I'm not going to have any German babies, in 100 AD. I'm going to stop having German babies right now because you guys have failed. Where's your Colosseum?" Which is stupid. Fortunately, they're not stupid as you. But no, the women worked with the guy, with the German men. And then they became a country significantly more powerful than Italy. That's just the way things work. Same with Hispania, same with the British, same with pretty much everybody but black women. And that's because y'all don't really care about nation building. So stop pretending. Okay. Let's read this. None of this will matter until black men grown a pair and stop trying to reason and campaign to be, do you mean under these? Okay. Until black men grow a pair and stop trying to reason and campaign to be under these traitorous black men and their subs in the black relationship. Okay. Could you break that down for me? Let's see if this is. They would let me grow a pair. YouTube is big tripping. I think I'm out of context on that, or maybe I read it wrong. But yeah, could you help me with that?
I've ever heard that from any of the black men, especially my detractors. So that by default means you don't have the ability to lead. That is what you're saying in so many words. That is what you're telling us.
Okay. I'm not going to try to beg to lead you. I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's no sense in trying to convince uncooperative women to follow. Like, just go not cooperate somewhere.
So let's address the ahistorical narrative that black men, why is this not? Oh, I don't know. I don't know why my slide isn't in there. Anyway, let's address the ahistorical narrative that black men keep trying to push about black women in the 1960s and 70s, specifically choosing welfare and feminism over black men. And this is a very old conversation. A lot of women have already addressed this. I am not the first one. I'm sure I won't be the last, because this narrative like keeps popping up. Like it just, I don't think it ever really went away. But it's like every time you criticize them and what they've done throughout history, it always goes back to, oh well, black women.
Oh, wait a minute. Now that's interesting. And I didn't catch that the first time I watched this portion. And she admits that black women brought up the question of history first. History should not be a major factor in determining contemporary behavior. It really shouldn't. Now, what you're doing is you're using history for an excuse for contemporary black women's behavior. And, like, listen, just the fact that you're looking for an excuse means that you want to behave this way. And that's enough for men to say, I don't want to deal with you or this behavior.
Those welfare and feminism over the black man. And we all know that historically, it's been more white women on welfare than black women. That is what you see here.
Oh, crap. Okay. So whenever somebody says there's been more white women on welfare than black women, that person is completely disingenuous. That person is completely disingenuous, because we're talking about per capita. We're talking about it's only more white women on welfare because it's more of them. But per capita, black women take more than their fair share of welfare cases. Hit the like button.
On this chart, right? The whole welfare queen stereotype was actually created by racist white people. And black men are still perpetuating that stereotype to cover up their failures.
There was literally a black woman who was white presenting who called herself the welfare queen. She committed welfare fraud and received millions of dollars in doing so. And she was literally a welfare queen.
And they're not.
Let me see if I can look her up. Let me see if I can look up her name. Hold on. The media coverage of welfare fraud began in the 1960s. Reader Digest. Linda Taylor. Linda Taylor is her name and welfare is her game. Let's take a look at Linda Taylor because she was a special, but hey, the white man. Is this her? Yeah, that's her. All right. Yeah, this is her. This is the welfare queen. It was an individual who was a black woman who can sometimes pass as a white woman if she tried hard enough. But this is who they're talking about. This wasn't something that white people made up. This is the actual welfare queen. So, yeah.
Not counting on black women such as myself to actually do the research. So they keep saying it over and over again. And black women who blindly follow them, like a lot of these red pill, channels ran by black women, they're not doing their research and they're just regurgitating what they hear from the black man.
No, we're doing our research. That's why you have people like Media Man, who's great at statistics. But you don't need to be great at statistics to understand that, a person is taking more than their fair share. Like if you have 100 people and 13 people, are have taken up half of a cake or half of a pizza, 13 out of 100 has taken up like half the pizza or 40% of the pizza. You can't say like, oh, the other 87% of people, they took more pizza. Yes, it's more of them.
Right? But it's not accurate. And I mean, it's so easy to like debunk. And I don't know why they keep, coming over here trying to sell that lie. But I found a site that did a 100-year review of black families.
Okay.
This was posted February of this year, and their data is from the U.S. Census and the CDC. And I have linked all of the pages as well as the census reports in the description box. So definitely look at those on your own time because it's a lot of information there. But if we look at the 1960s employment stats, it says here that despite black people getting more access to jobs and education, the poverty rate for black families who had children under 18 was over twice the national average. And almost half of black families were living in poverty. So,
Okay. I don't know what you're trying to prove here, Chrissie. But you just proved your detractors right. Essentially, what you just said, and I'm going to rewind this. In fact, let me do that now. I'm going to rewind this. Essentially, what you just said is even though black men are doing better in jobs, black women still remain in poverty. You see, one part of your statistic is talking about black men getting more money, getting more paper, getting more green. The other part talks about black families, which, doesn't necessarily have to include a man, is living in poverty. What that means is that more black women have taken welfare. You are now in poverty. You have a child under 18. So even though black men were getting more jobs, black women were still going to welfare and adding to the poverty statistic. That's what that means. Yeah, I know. They classify black women and children as a family. And once again, I'm going to hit the replay on this.
because it's a lot of information there. But if we look at the 1960s employment stats, it says here that despite Black people getting more access to jobs and education, the poverty rate for Black families who had children under 18
Black people
was over twice the national average. And almost half of Black families were living in poverty. So, you know,
if you're on welfare, you live in poverty.
Don't argue with me, argue with the stats. Like, I didn't make this up. It's here. So all this stuff about, oh, most Black men had jobs and we were making so much progress, it still wasn't enough. That's the point.
Okay. So she just made the quantum leap that because Black men had jobs, Black women were with them.
Here's the graph. And again, all of the links are in the description box. There was a significant amount of Black people who didn't have it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in the 70s,
there's a significant amount of people that, of all people, that don't have it like that. What are you saying?
It says that 80% of Black people living in the South, which was over half of Black people in the United States, were living in urban areas. So a significant amount of the Black population was still struggling financially in the 60s and 70s.
That made no sense. They're living in urban areas. What does that have to do with anything? It's an urban area. It's urban. Yes, I know. There's a high concentration of people in the areas that they live in. What does that have to do with socioeconomic anything? What? Urban. Okay. Thanks for that. Black women.
I'm trying to figure out who didn't know this. Black people were dealing with way more systemic racism than we do now. We were dealing with job discrimination. Black men specifically were dealing with occupational segregation. And that's part of why so many Black women needed financial assistance and why they were protesting to get it, both in the civil rights movement and the feminist movement. And I posted this old protest photo for my community tab from the Welfare Rights Organization. And if you zoom in on the picket sign, it literally says right there that our children go to bed hungry and wake up hungry.
Why did you have children? I mean, because y'all obviously aren't now. Why did you have children back then? What were you eating before this welfare boom? What were you eating? What were you eating in the 9 months beforehand? Like, our children were going, like, really? You just had a baby with no money, no food, but plenty of sperm in you. Like, really?
And so the argument from the Black man is, oh.
By the way, the women in this photograph, including the white ones, are ugly as hell. I'm going to start there. The women in this is, oh, that's another point. Yeah. Like, does she look hungry? Does she look hungry? You eating up all your kids' food? Like, yeah. So, but she's just gonna like make this sign into something gospel, like the children are hungry because this woman said so. Well, this woman just said so because she wants free stuff. Did you think of that? She wants free stuff. Why would a hungry person or a person who don't have food for a child conceive a child? Just saying. Oh, but back to my previous point. These broads are ugly as sin. Let's start there. Let's take that as a baseline. These are not attractive women. And that's what happened. That's how feminism spread through the Black community. Because ugly women are the feminists. They're the ones who benefits least from the patriarchy. I'm going to repeat that. Ugly women was, and have always been the ones who benefited the least from patriarchy. Hit the like button. And this is Black, white, and other. Ugly women and women that like women. So that's how it got started. These grotesquely fat, and by the way, she's fat by today's standards. And that goes double for the 1960s. Like, they might as well multiply her weight by 2 for the 1960s. She's considered tremendous. Tremendously and grotesquely unattractive. That's who the feminist movement was initially for. These ugly broads, through a method called the sisterhood and big mama-ness, was able to wrap attractive women into it as well in the Black community. Because in the Black community, for whatever reason, attractive women listen to unattractive women because they're stupid. But attractive white women don't listen to ugly white women. You know, you don't see Ann Coulter or whoever, like the attractive new Fox News reporter. You don't see her listening to Roseanne or Rosie O'Donnell. You don't see no crap like that. Lion says, only ugly women want to dismantle the patriarchy. Absolutely. Attractive women benefit under patriarchy. You know, an attractive woman sees those sirens in her rearview mirror, and then a cop gets out the car and she unbuttons a button, maybe 2. Make sure her lip gloss is shining. So by the time the officer walks up, what seems to be the problem, officer? That's what attractive women do. Then he says, yes, ma'am, I'm going to let you off with a warning this time, but make sure you don't run over any more babies. Okay, officer, it won't happen again. That's what attractive women do. Unattractive women are actually, let's just stop there for a second. All right. And then let's see what happens if the officer was a woman. Who benefits by being pulled over by female officers versus male officers? You see, unattractive women, they have far less control over men than attractive women. I repeat, unattractive women have far less control over men than attractive women. So they'll tear down the patriarchy because it really don't matter if it's a male officer or a female officer, they're going to get a ticket. So what benefits do they get under patriarchy? You see, a woman's power is the ability to manipulate powerful men. I'm going to repeat that. A woman's power is her ability to manipulate powerful men. What does that mean? It means that white women have discovered that the more powerful their men are, the more powerful they are. The more powerful their men are, the more powerful they are. They want to see their men powerful because their power comes from the manipulation of men. Black women, on the other hand, they don't see things that way. They feel that it's combative. And that's because they really haven't accessed their feminine powers yet. And their ability to manipulate men on the basis of femininity is so diminished that they can't rely on it. Anyway, let me continue because it's a lot of this.
So most Black men were employed and the marriage rate in the Black community was higher back then. Okay, and you were still fighting for basic human rights. Most of your kids, or many of your kids, a critical mass of your kids, let's put it like that, we're still going to bed.
Listen at how she just dismissed functioning Black families and relationships.
And wake up hungry. And so the argument from the Black man is, oh, well, most Black men were employed and the marriage rate in the Black community was higher back then. Okay, and
the marriage rate in the Black community was higher back then. Okay, and you see how important marriage is to this woman? It's like, okay, and what? What else do you want? Do you want a community of families or don't you? You see, to women like Chrissie, family is just a buzzword that they use to sell their pussy to men. I'm going to repeat that. Family is just a buzzword that they use to sell their pussy to men. Now, let's go back to Skylar's video, aka One Master Teacher's video. In his video, he was saying that women had different cultures. He was saying that that Filipina and Thailand women, they want marriage. They want marriage more than anything. You know, Brazilian women like to have fun more. So Black American women have a culture that is unique. And it's much like the Brazilian women, except for one caveat. Well, actually, several caveats. One is that instead of getting a Brazilian bombshell, you get a big Black bitch. Let's start there. And instead of getting a woman who wants to please you physically, you have a woman whose mating strategy is to create complete and total misery in your life, and then hope to be the only comfort of a life of misery that she has created for you. Hit the like button.
You were still fighting for basic human rights. Most of your kids, or many of your kids, a critical mass of your kids, let's put it like that, we're still going to bed hungry.
And why should we care about the children of people who don't care about family? I don't get it. Why should we care about the children of people who don't care about family? Once again, the children are hostages. And that's how welfare works. It's like, oh yeah, you gotta give me, or these kids are gonna starve. You gotta give me some. Okay. Say there's a person, right, who has a child. Now, you don't want to see that child suffer due to bad parenting. So you say to the child, or you say to the mother, here's $20. I want you to go get those kids something to eat. So you give them that $20 and they go and buy crack. And then what do? They come back the next day and say, my kids are still starving. Y'all remember Daquan from the TV series The Wire? Whose parents has taken everything that has come through the house. Another kid drops off some clean uniforms and stuff. And his crackhead's parents was about to take that. You see, they create a problem and then they petition for you to fix said problem. Once you give them those provisions, they don't use it to fix their problem. They just demand more money. Okay. If y'all have a church like this, go to another church. And I've seen this when I was a kid. And I went to a church, and then I went to that same church for a funeral. And I remember as a kid, the pastor asking for money for cushions on the pew seats. I repeat, the pastor was asking for money to have cushioned pew seats. And then decades later, there was still no cushions. And he's still asking for money for cushion on the seats. Empathy, sympathy, whatever you want to call it, is a commodity. They have commoditized it. Dang, these broads are ugly.
So how was that possible if all of these, Black men and Black fathers had well-paying jobs? Marriage and jobs don't mean anything if you...
Once again, more women took welfare, and as a result, the poverty numbers plummeted.
Still don't have enough money to feed your family. Like, isn't that what the complaint is right now in 2024? That Black men and men in general aren't being paid livable wages? Is that not the complaint?
I'm not complaining.
So then why?
I'm not complaining because I live. That's the thing. I'm not complaining because I live. And we all live. This is America.
When we start talking about this, the first go-to is, oh, well, most Black men had jobs and most Black people were married, so Black women had nothing to complain about. There was a whole civil rights movement going on. What are you talking about? Like, this is just so ahistorical. Like, I don't... The fact that I even have to get up here and do this video is just ridiculous. I don't... And the fact that it's a running joke now that took Black men out of the home. This is how much they say that. Welfare took Black men out of the home. Feminism took Black men out of the home. Everything took Black men out of the home. Hair weave took Black men out of the home.
Well, it made Black men not want to go to the home.
What else took Black men out of the home? Eyelashes took Black men out of the home. Lace fronts took Black men out of the home. What?
Okay, listen. For the most part, at least this generation, Black men were never in the home to begin with. But of the few that were, Black women filed for divorce at 80%, at an 80% rate. 80% of the divorces were filed by Black women. So if, marriage has a 50-50, divorce rate, then it would mean that about 40% overall of marriages end in divorce by Black women. Now, that would be an example of taking them out the home. But I mean, the number of Black men who are not married and childless, and I think that's like 52%, it means that we were never actually in the home. We were never actually in the home. You see, a 16-year-old having a baby to get on welfare and by an unknown father, or a father that they track down and they get a notice in the mail saying he has to pay child support, that's a Black man that was never in the home. We're at the point now that, in most cases, they're never in the home. Most Black men have never been in the home.
That didn't take you niggas out the home. I cannot. And it's a running joke at this point. It's a running joke. Because that's how much these niggas blame all of their problems on everybody else.
Okay. I don't really have many problems. And Black men, Black American men, really don't have any problems. In fact, collectively speaking, the only thing that Black men do not have an abundance of is cooperative wives and mothers. That's it. That's all. That's the beginning and the end of it. The only thing we do not have access to or an abundance of is cooperative wives/mothers. And there's really only one person to blame for that. There's one group of people to blame for that.
And it's like, and again, I mean, back in the day, we're talking about 2 income households back then, because Black women, we've always had to work, right? And many were still struggling. And so what? I guess all those women, were rich and just complaining about nothing. I guess all these protests that were happening, it was for no reason. Like, come on. It doesn't even.
No, it was for more free shit. You see, kind of like the people who protest for reparations doesn't mean that their children are starving. It just means that they want some free stuff.
Even make sense. And I was looking at some of these statistics, and even though the single motherhood rate was drastically lower than it is now, as you can see on this chart, Black women back then still had the highest single motherhood rate, which isn't surprising to me because we've always had the highest single motherhood rate.
And that's our fault. How? I don't know what point you're trying to make by proving that Black women are sexually less responsible. I don't get that. And I know that y'all always had a high single mother rate ever since I seen the movie Trick Baby. Oh, by the way, what is Trick Baby? Trick Baby is a movie, I think it was the 70s, maybe even the 60s, about a guy. Well, first of all, what is a trick baby? And it is as it sounds. A trick baby is the offspring of a worker, of a seg worker, and her client, who is a trick. These have unknown fathers. And of course, these are out of wedlock because you don't marry a 304. So that's what a trick baby is. Now, the movie was about one of those guys who grew up and he passed for white. His father was obviously white, his mother was black. So he grew up black and, he is genetically Negro, but he appeared to be white. Now, this allowed him to commit all sorts of scams and hustles, and people didn't really see it coming because he presented white. So that's what the movie was about. Interesting movie. If y'all can find it on the old Blaxploitation channel or something like that, check it out. And a very funny movie. So in watching Trick Baby, I realized that Black women, because of their high concentration of prostitution, and you don't have to take my word for it, just go to where prostitutes are. I'm in your city. Go to the nearest city. Go to the nearest city, and then just do black, black, white, black, black, white. Tally it up. Divide the total black by the total, multiply it by 100, and that'll tell you the percentage of them that are black. And I could tell you that it's greater than the percentage of black people in that particular city. So the prostitution rate for Black American females have been disproportionately high. Now, that being the case, the results would be premature pregnancies, pregnancies in general, and of course, pregnancies out of marriage. These statistics is a reflection of that. Now, these are unfortunate side effects of poverty, but here's what it is. You dug up the past. Now, I just read the book Pimp by Iceberg Slim. So press 1 in the chat, because when I review stuff, I'm gonna be honest, when I review movies and stuff, I actually like doing those. I want to review the movie Wicked. I actually like doing those, but they get very little turnout. And the reason for that is, and it's not because they're particularly boring or anything, the reason for that is because people either seen the movie or they haven't. If they haven't, they don't want to spoil it for themselves. And if they've seen it, they don't think that my take on it is probably going to really sway how they felt about the movie. I don't know. But I do want to do more of those. And yes, I would review the book. If I start doing book reviews, it's going to be a wrap. I really would like to start doing, or I would start by reviewing the book The Pimp by Iceberg Slim. So let me know what y'all think of that, because there is a lot to go over about the mentality of both Black men and women of that time. And how prostitute culture indirectly affect Black women who are not prostitutes, like Chrissie.
So even though it was a minority of Black women, we were still, disproportionately single mothers than, compared to other races of women. So even that small portion of women had a reason to, protest and ask for assistance or fight for livable wages and higher wages. So it's like, why are we acting like none of this ever happened? It's just so weird the way they try to romanticize this period in time.
Well, I really wouldn't call it wages when you're not working for it. I call it begging for free crap. Like the reparation people. Hit the like button.
Because most Black people were married. And most Black men had jobs. Like Like, it's just so strange to me.
Why is that strange?
And
oh, it's strange to a person that doesn't value family. And this is evidence of that. This particular black woman, I'm not going to say black women, even though it is true for the plurality. This particular black woman is making it apparent that she don't value family. Now, of course, she made it directly apparent by saying stuff like, she don't want to have any kids and she just wants a guy to pay for her lifestyle. She wants a guy to help sustain her lifestyle. She just wants an additional income, which she will trade for sexual access, sporadic sexual access. How is this not prostitution? How is this not prostitution? So and that's another thing, because black women have been have had a close proximity to prostitution for so long, that a lot of black women have become prostitute adjacent. Sad but true. Let's continue.
for black men to keep pushing the narrative that all black women were fighting for back then, especially, was to unalive their babies and control black men and kick them out the home, it's not historically accurate. It's not. The black women who were protesting were struggling and they needed assistance. That is just the truth of the matter. And let me be clear here, okay?
But they were struggling before that. Gail at night, please, peace. I got your email, Gail. I didn't get a chance to respond to it, but I got it.
Am I saying that the only reason black women ever joined the feminist movement is because they wanted higher paying jobs? No, I'm not saying that. Do many feminists also want to destroy?
This is a new crop of ugly broads. Look at this chick right here. She looks like a retarded bird. I cannot believe these dizzy hoes. Minority women unite for equal rights, daycare, jobs, abortion. Why are you uniting for both daycare and abortions? What type of a sick tramp are you? I'm gonna let this sign sit here for a while.
The patriarchy? Absolutely. Do some of them want power? Absolutely. Do some of them want to control men? Absolutely. I've acknowledged that
How's welfare power?
several times on my channel, right? But I do find it interesting that black men online, when they talk about the 60s and the 70s, and they harp on what appeared to be the loudest minority of black women that were involved in black feminist organizations, it's like, why are they harping on those women as opposed to the critical mass of black women who were involved in the civil rights movement? Why is there so much focus on the feminist?
Because that's how the conversation went. I mean, basically, you start a conversation based on not building anything in the past. The black men respond with, well, we can't build anything without cooperative women, and black women refuse to cooperate. Here's evidence of that. It's like, yes, but let's talk about the civil rights movement and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, we can talk about that too. Black women cooperated and we got civil rights as a result of it. So we do understand that there is power in cooperation, yet you still don't wish to cooperate. Are we learning yet?
When there were seemingly more Black women involved in fighting for the collective of Black people. And that's a rhetorical question. We know why they don't focus on those women, because mules and foot soldiers and women on the front line, they aren't appreciated, right? We already know that. That's why I keep telling y'all to burn the cape. And obviously, I couldn't find the exact numbers, but I'm quite sure that there were more Black women involved in this, in civil rights and pro-Black activism than feminism.
Doesn't matter. You're fat now. You're ugly as hell now.
And those women made huge contributions to the advancement and the liberation of Black people alongside Black men. But
okay, I don't think that she understands that just because they don't like shift topics mid conversation when they're making a point about a very specific thing, just because they don't do that, it doesn't mean that we don't recognize the efforts of the women of the civil rights movement. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like a kid, right? That was molested while the mama, sat there and watched or something. And then having that mama say, "Yeah, but you don't remember about that time I bought you that chocolate cake for your birthday, do you?" It's like, wait, what? We're not really talking about that now, are we? Well, I'm just saying, you know, you don't like chocolate cake? Remember that Nintendo? It's, you can't have a conversation with somebody like this. You can't. I've tried.
it's almost like those Black women don't exist. At least to these Black men online talking shit, it's almost like they were never there. And it was only the feminists.
All right. Let me ask you this. How would you describe her behavior? How would you describe her behavior? Would you say her behavior towards Black men is disrespectful? Do you only understand respect as something that Black men should give to Black women? And do you only understand disrespect as something that um, Black women, or excuse me, Black men can give to Black women? Fair question.
And this is why I will continue to tell Black women, burn the cape. Fighting for the community is a thankless job, y'all. Most of you will get little to
Um, you were thanked with civil rights. What are you talking about? You fought for civil rights and you got civil rights. So I'm curious to know what would be adequate thanks, because obviously that wasn't what they were fighting for. According to Chrissie, they didn't get what they fought for. So what is it that Chrissie thought that they were fighting for? What is it that they didn't get that they wanted? Let's start there. It's kind of like this. So it's kind of like somebody who fought in the Civil War saying, yeah, that was a thankless job. Um, well, you were thanked with blanket freedom for all your people. Like, what did you want that you didn't get? And I think Lincoln actually did thank them.
no reward for your contributions. And that's exactly why you should focus on yourself instead of trying to liberate everybody in their mama. And that's what this live stream is for. It's not.
But you did liberate yourself. What she really means is don't work with Black men, even if y'all have common interests. And this sentiment is what Black men are talking about. Because it's like, listen, you want a family, I want a family, let's have a family together. Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to work with y'all. I'm not going to put on a cape. It's like, this is something that's mutually beneficial, like civil rights. You're stupid.
Not to beg Black men to see our humanity, because that's never going to happen. It's to tell Black women, this is why you shouldn't be a Wakandan warrior for this community, because you don't get any credit for it. For the most part, you don't.
Once again, I don't know what credit you're looking for. I truly don't. Well, I do. It's just that I'm trying to goad her into saying it. The credit that they're looking for is actually a mating advantage. Meaning that they were, while Black men were marching for civil rights, equal access to jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they was marching for superior and exclusive sexual access to Black men. That's what they were fighting for. And they didn't get that. That's what they're really complaining about. They wanted sexual exclusive access to Black men while maintaining global access to other groups of men. That's what they wanted.
All you get is a bunch of revisionist historians who are Black men online talking about how you sided with the feminist movement and it took Black men out the home, and therefore Black women destroyed the entire Black community. That's what you get.
Are you saying that feminism did? That's not revisionist history. That's history. You read the statistics of the Black family unit yourself prior to feminism. And here it is after. Like, so you do realize that feminism destroyed the Black community. You just don't care because family is not your concern. Your concern is exclusive access to Black men. That's what you want. Now, you're not going to use that exclusive access to create families by your own admission. You just want that exclusive access to get free shit. The ultimate goal of all of these women, Chrissie, Sinji, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all these women have one thing in common, and that is they don't want to have to compete with white women. I repeat, they don't want to have to compete with non-Black women. That's what they want more than anything. That's what the whole civil rights thing was about for many of them. That's what welfare is about for many of them.
Yeah, Selena says their wives had to sacrifice too much or so much. That is so true. Yeah, everything took Black men out the home. Everything, according to them. But what I said in the last video still stands. Black women joining feminism, even if it was for selfish reasons and to get more power as women, it still doesn't change that the primary reason that a critical mass of Black women, not all Black women, but a critical mass of Black women. The reason they aren't traditional or quote unquote following the Black man's program is because there is no program to follow.
The program is simple, really. Family. That's a simple program to follow. What do you mean there is no program? Now, this program probably doesn't include global domination or anything like that. But neither is a typical white man's program. See, here's the thing. As long as they feign dissatisfaction, I'm not following anyone off a cliff. Yes, you are. You just don't see it this way.
The program does not exist. And we're going to stop acting like it does.
What's this obsession with men wanting to lead something? Don't matter. Don't matter. See, I never asked myself, what's women's obsession with big dick? I just give it to them. Toy stores don't say, what's kids' obsession with toys? They just sell them toys. Ice cream truck people, they don't say, what's kids' obsession with chocolate ice cream? They just sell it to them. Because all the aforementioned people aren't stupid. Like doctors don't say stuff like, what's people's obsession with staying alive? They just give it to them because they're not stupid. Don't say, what's my exception? What's the obsession with it? Just give me it or don't. Dang. You heard the saying, lead, follow, or get out the way. Follow, or get out the damn way. But y'all can't get out the way because you're fat.
IB says the best thing that came out of Kamala losing is Black women have woke the fuck up. We don't need to help anyone else. Yeah, and I hope that y'all are serious about that,
Okay, I'm glad y'all woke up.
I hope it's not just, you're temporarily upset and you just talking about burning the cape. I hope that you really do.
How do you measure fitness to lead? See, this is what I'm talking about. Just admit that you don't want to follow. And that's perfectly fine. That's you getting out the fucking way. I have determined that you're not fit to lead, so I'm not going to. No. You have moved the goalposts of fitness to lead. So no one that you don't wish to follow will ever meet that criteria. Nobody asked to fucking lead you. You asked the question, why are men obsessed with leadership? When did I or anybody in that chat room ask your ass to lead, to follow? See, that's the damn problem. Do or don't. Jesus. Simple broads.
Do that and put yourself and your interest first. I hope you guys are serious about that. Because we've been on that over here, but you're right, IB. That is a good thing that came out of her losing. For sure. But yeah, there's no program to follow, fellas.
I'm a leader myself. That's not what leadership is. But you do you, boo-boo.
And I'm not even sure why Black men are still going on and on about how Black women don't want to be housewives and stay-at-home mothers, because that was what one of my detractors said. And he's shaming Black women for not wanting to be housewives. And I'm like, but again, y'all don't want traditional stay-at-home wives and mothers. Y'all don't even.
Okay. This type of buffoonery is what I'm talking about. Ladies, lead yourself. Okay. If you're leading yourself, you're also following yourself. Once again, if you lead yourself, you also are following yourself, which, see, okay. Dang. I had to explain this logic to a Black woman who actually said, I'm not even going to tell you how this conversation got started. She actually told me that if I was capable of sucking my own dick, that I'd never leave the house. And I was like, first of all, if I was capable of sucking my own dick, I wouldn't suck my own dick. Because yes, I'm getting my dick sucked, but I'm also sucking dick. What the fuck? I'm also sucking penis. Now take you. If you are leading yourself, then you are also following yourself. How do you not get that logic?
Even want that as a collective of Black men. Look at my last video on this where I showed the clip of Tawanda Braxton and her. Y'all said he was her boyfriend. He's not even her fiance. I don't know. Fiance, husband, boy. I don't know what he is. But he explicitly stated, yeah, you're not going to sit at home and do nothing, after she was praising him for being a provider. That is how most Black men think on some level. And the very same men who are coming at me for my last video, I know for a fact that one of them, he does not want a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mother. He would never marry a woman who didn't work and have a college education. Like, come on. And like I've said before, there have already been studies done proving that most modern men want women who work. This has already been proven. And look, nobody is saying that men choose smart women over beautiful women. We know that looks are definitely.
This is annoying. Listen, if a woman can maintain a job and keep the family together without being an obnoxious bitch, then yes, men do prefer that. So when asked the question, the whole obnoxious bitch factor don't come into play. It doesn't. It doesn't. See, when you ask that question, men think of stuff like, yeah, I'd get with Rihanna. She has a job. But it doesn't work that way in many cases. See, Black women took having a job to be licensed to be an unruly bitch all of a sudden. And that's not going to fly.
The most important to most men. That's a given. Like, I shouldn't have to say that. Like, we already know that. But the days of men marrying unemployed women who don't have any job skills and who just stay at home barefoot and pregnant and do domestic labor around the house, those days are long gone.
Those days are long gone. Okay. Trophy wife. Trophy wife. Trophy wife. I'm going to say it one more time. Trophy wife. Now, for those of you who are new here, go ahead and subscribe. Those of you who are not new here, continue to be subscribed and hit that like button. But we're going to talk about the new trophy wife. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about a woman who calls herself the new trophy wife. She tells a story about how she met her husband, her well-to-do husband, who is now wrapped in a scandal. And in this story, she said that I married the second guy I matched with on eHarmony. Really? I thought guys wasn't looking to have stay-at-home wives. But it took her all of 2 swipes to find one who did. Something's not adding up. Something's not adding up. Yeah, and he proposed within a week. She literally got married she literally became a housewife. She went from single mother to housewife with a black man, and the time that it takes to wait for a new season of Game of Thrones to come on. Literally.
Most modern men don't want that.
Oh, and by the way, she's confusing working with cooperative. We want cooperative women working or not. Period. We don't really care what they're doing. We want cooperative women working or not. Hit the like button.
They want a woman who at least works part-time. And even if at some point during the relationship,
Want a cooperative woman,
job,
whether she works or not.
He doesn't want her to come in with no skills.
I do not care.
Most men don't. I mean,
okay. If she, first of all, because women are marrying so late in life, it would be weird if she came in with no skills. If she's like 32, 33, and she came in, and she's just now getting into the game, you got to ask yourself, like, what were you doing with 15 years of adulthood? You got to ask yourself that. But no, if you are 17 and you marry a 16-year-old, you're not going to ask that. Men are now starting to ask that because women are no longer marrying young. And society kind of forces them to have skills. Like, I mean, not for socioeconomic reason. The reason that the way that society is forcing them to have skills is to say that you can't legally get married until you're 18, until you're finished with high school, which is their way of saying, you have to have some skill before you consider marriage.
A lot of them are not going to say that, but they don't want that.
If you are a black woman, then sweetie, I don't know if your education is bad or mine's, but I think you mean then here. Oh, my bad. That's actually my screen blurry. I thought you said then. My mistake. Then understand a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Listen, everybody should understand that. And so is a body. And so is a womb. And so are eggs. You get my point? You get my point? Are you not entertained? Because y'all wasted a lot of those. Just saying. Oh, and getting a bunch of useless degrees is wasting the mind. Also saying.
And the exceptions don't make the rule, ladies. And I should have brought up those stats I saw where, and we already knew this anyway, but most men marry women who are of the same class anyway. You know, they may marry down in terms of income a little bit, but the woman is still going to be within the same class.
Mr. Game Changer, I am more than just a body and a sack of eggs. No, you're not. No, you're not. That is the vote. That is the most valuable thing you can give to me, society, the world. No, you are not. Not saying that the other aspects of you don't have value, but that is your most valuable thing. Never forget that. Your mind should have told you that. The most valuable thing a woman has is the ability to create other humans. Point blank, period. I am an intellectual in the making. I am a human body. I am a philosophical, productive human. Those two things contradict each other. Philosophers rarely ever produce. But nevertheless, all of these things being true, I'm sure your body and your eggs is still more valuable than that.
And he may have a little bit more education or whatever, more money, but they're going to be in the same class. They're going to have the same similar networks. A lot of men, meet their spouses at work. Doctors, for example, a lot of times marry nurses and things like that. So
most men have no value, in my opinion. So you see, think about the TV series Game of Thrones. Now, dragons choose to have certain humans on their back and ride them and tell them when to breathe fire. To say stuff like Dracarys. Now, that human doesn't really have any value to that dragon. But yet, they still have them on their back and breathe fire. You want to know why? Because that's their underlying nature. It's their underlying nature. It's the way their gods, the 7 gods or the drowned gods or whatever, the god of fire, whatever. That is what they made them to do, is to have a human ride their back. Shitzy, you were made to have a man ride you. And you know it. Deep down, your unquenchable desire is to have me ride you rigorously. Now you can fight it online and you can even win that fight. But in winning so, you lose. Because you forfeit your natural desire to have me ride you. And that's the truest thing you're ever going to hear.
What I'm saying here is well-known information, and it's well documented. Yeah, DB says men don't know what they want. That's true. they are very confused about what they want. They are, and they feel one way and they tell women another thing. So you kind of have to go based on their actions and not their words. You have to go based on what they're doing. Because I've already showed many examples of very, very successful men. They're not marrying broke women. They're not marrying women without educations or some type of career. Most successful men aren't doing that. And most of the men
Okay. Once again, you got to ask yourself, who are successful men marrying? Because what they're doing is they're marrying women regardless of that, not because of it. They think that, okay, for example, say you see a pattern, right? And men just so happen to be marrying women with C cups or above, right? Small waist, pretty face with the big bank. And you're trying to see something that isn't there. You're seeing something like, oh, men must like left-handed women. Like, excuse me? Yeah, men are marrying left-handed women. That's a non-factor. That is a non-factor.
I know, the successful men and women I know are both successful. Like the couples I know, they're both successful. And I already talked about how you should avoid when men who intentionally, prey on poor women.
Let me see if I understand this properly. So after all this talk, after about 22 minutes of talking about how guys don't want to lead, they don't want trophy wives, they don't want housewives. After 10 minutes, they don't want to be the provider, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. After 10 minutes of complaining about that, a man is preying on poor women. Make this make sense. Because this is making no damn sense. So if a man is looking to financially support a woman who needs it the most, those women with the picket sign talking about my kids are starving. If a man was to financially support women like that, he's preying on her. But if he isn't, then it's a justification for welfare. Make this make sense. Make this make sense. Exactly. Chrissie never addressed the real problem with Black women. Of course not. So she's saying that regular women should avoid rich men. Yeah, while complaining about them, which is the exact. Okay. Let's follow this logic, because in this video, she's saying that the myth that Black women choose welfare and feminism over productive men, while also telling broke women that wealthy men who are interested in you are predators. So if she's poor and she's avoiding wealthy men that can take her out of poverty, then where's she going to go? Welfare. Oh my gosh, you're just proving us right over and over and over again because you're stupid. You're stupid. The consistency. Oh, what do you got to say? Chrissie is of the upper middle class, so she knows the dynamic of social thought and intellectual diversity. Well, so am I. So fuck her and fuck you too.
Like Corey Holcomb. So you can go watch that video. But yeah, they don't want housewives. They don't want stay-at-home mothers. The exceptions don't make the rule. And again, I mean, those days actually never existed for most Black women anyway, because we always had to work. So even if most Black women aren't 100% traditional, and neither are Black men. And this goes back to what I said about how most people today want contemporary traditional relationships, which are modern relationships with elements of traditionalism.
Men want a bunch of different things. What we lack is women who are willing to cooperate with the things that we want.
So you can't shame Black women for not wanting to be housewives when you don't want a housewife. It doesn't make sense.
But you just said that we want a hybrid of traditionalism and modernism that does not exclude housewives. You also said that a man who is seeking a broke woman to undoubtedly make her into a housewife is predatory. Now, keep in mind, every man who seeks a woman other than her is somehow wrong. If you seek a broke woman, you're wrong. If you seek a white woman, you're wrong. If you seek a foreign woman, you're wrong. If you seek, dang it. If you seek a woman different than myself, you are wrong.
And even if most Black women wanted to be 100% traditional, there are still no resources provided by Black men as a collective. I'm not talking about.
But if we do provide it as a collective, then we're preying on broke women.
Individual Black men who are providing for their wives. I'm talking about the collective.
Are you marrying a collective or are you looking to marry an individual? I'm confused.
There is no system that the collective of Black men built.
Why do you need a system? A guy walks up to a woman and says, a doctor walks into Starbucks, sees a barista there, and asks her out. And her response is, what system do you have in place to take care of me? Like, and he's looking like, I beg your pardon? What system do you have in place? Uh, what? This is the type of dumb crap that Black people say all the time. First of all, Black people are obsessed with the word system in a negative or positive, but what the hell is that? Well, you don't have a system in place to take care of me. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to dress up as a homeless man, go to San Francisco and beg for dollars. And then when somebody give me $1, I'm going to say, what system do you have in place to give me this dollar? Like what? I don't even like this is just some Sergeant Willie P endorsed this broad.
Built that benefits Black women. Now, if that
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do something that I haven't done before, not because I'm on some no tricking shit or some game shit. I don't buy drinks simply because I don't drink. So it's as simple as that. I just so it's like I'm not really at the bar like that, you know, sharing a drink with a woman. And it's not that I'm against it because I don't, or there's like some greater moral implication. It's because the whole point in buying a drink is so that you sit and drink with them and you get to know them. But that's not the case. That's not how that's going to work, with me. Like what am I going to say? She'll have a such and such drink, and I'll have a cranberry. I'll have some cranberry juice. Like, that doesn't work to my favor. So I just assume not do it. But I am going to do it for the sake of this experiment. And I'm going to see if in taking the drink, they're going to say, what system have you set in place? Like, what are you talking about? Because I can tell you what, any system that your imagination is leading you to believe. I'm about to go because there's no super chats for one, or it's one. But furthermore, it's getting late. So I'll cover the rest of this later. But what was I going to say? But people don't really need a system in place to just do stuff that needs to be done. They need it as an excuse to not do the things that they don't want to do.
Existed, would there still be Black feminists complaining about Black patriarchy? Of course there would. Just like you have white feminists complaining about white patriarchy. But my point is, the numbers, let's pull up the numbers. These numbers would look different if Black men had a system. The numbers would look more like the white female community, where a critical mass of Black women will be siding with whatever system Black men had in place. But that
I'm confused. Okay. But
that does not exist. And that is why you saw most Black people of both genders voting Democrat and voting for Kamala in the recent election. That's why. And I heard one of my Black male detractors.
That didn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. System is like Robitussin to Black people. When in doubt, just say the word system. It's the systemic slavery. It's the systemic white supremacy. It's the welfare system. It's the system of oppression. It's the system. Would you shut the fuck up?
Say, oh well, Black women are disloyal because they yelled at the 20% of Black men who voted for Trump. They called those men names and they have nasty attitudes and they're just mean. It's just so funny. It's just so funny. How mean these niggas are. It's just so funny to hear them say shit like that. But and he also made the claim that Black men online, he was like, oh well, Black men didn't talk about the Black women who voted for Kamala. They did talk about the Black women who voted for Kamala. And I heard some of them calling Black women names and being mean about it. I heard a lot of disrespect. And look, even if they didn't, we're not going to sit here and act like Black men are suddenly just all on code and, just in alignment with Black women because they weren't hollering on TikTok about how Black women voted like Black women were when it came to Black men. What about all the other times Black men are off code and shitting on Black women? What about all the nicknames? Hair-hatted hooligans, hyenas, BT 1000s, or whatever they call them.
All these words.
Average at best. What about all that? What about all the colorism and the featureism and the texturism?
Oh my gosh, she said texturism too.
The way these men are pretending like they're just so on code and so loyal, and oh, we've always had great and wonderful and positive things to say about Black women. It's just comical to me.
Hit the like button.
Please stop the cap. Black men have not been any more kind or loyal to Black women than we have to them, and especially dark-skinned Black women. And don't even let me get on my little tangent about that. Y'all know how I can get.
Well, it's chicken and egg, but it really don't matter. If an individual Black woman cannot see fit to, be respectful and follow a Black man, an individual Black man, then it's really, without asking for system, the system thing, it's ridiculous. It's like those women who travel in packs, and you pick one of them, you holler at her, you get her number and stuff, and she says, well, what do you have for my friends? My response, of course, would be they can get some dick too, except the fat ones.
But it's like you've never been on code with us. And in order for a community to progress, both genders have to be on code together.
Agreed. And you have not been on code with us. That's what feminism is. That's what feminism is. Feminism is being off code. A critical mass of you were off code. Okay. Here's another. She's just full of contradictions. Hair-hatted hooligans was a term that I coined way back when. And I made a song about it called Hair-hatted Hooligans. Gonna get me acting like a motherfucking fool again. I coined that a long time ago. She's stealing my shit.
Loyal to Black women than we have to them, and especially dark-skinned Black women. And don't even let me get on my little tangent about that. Y'all know how I can get. But it's like you've never been on code with us. And in order for a community to progress, both genders have to be on code together.
In order for a community to progress, both genders have to be on code together. So guess what? You're complaining about Black community not progressing. Y'all haven't built anything. Y'all haven't built anything. That's progress. Y'all haven't been on code with us. And as I stated before, y'all don't want to build anything with us. Because quite frankly, what y'all fear, the deepest fear that a Black woman has, the deepest fear that a Black woman has is to build the Black community just to and build Black men with it, just to have white women take it away. That's what they fear most. So to avoid this, they just assume not watch the community progress. They fear that if the community progress, Black men will become more appealing to other races of women and they will lose. So they will rather keep us behind than to see that happen. That's the truth of the matter. You can't do anything with women like this.
Together. It can't just be like a one-sided thing. And in my last video, I brought up how many Black men during the civil rights era were pretty much fighting for sexual access to white women.
I told you.
The same white women that
I didn't see this part. I only seen like the 10 minutes of this. I told you. That is their biggest fear. And that is why they will stifle any progress that you have, because first of all, they feel as if they are sexually inferior to white women. And they also feel that the only thing that's keeping my penis out of a white woman's mouth is the state of the community. Even though, according to you, that's the thing that's keeping my penis out of your mouth. Oh, y'all haven't built anything, therefore I'm not going to suck your dick. System. And shit like that. So y'all don't want us to build anything or create a system because y'all feel that once we do and have this grandstanding, Wakandan society, we gonna say where the white women at. Well, guess what? We're gonna say that shit anyway. And the reason why we're gonna say this shit is because you're fat, ugly, your hair is shit, and your teeth are fucked up, and you smell funny. That's the reason why we're gonna say shit like that. So it's a lose-lose. You might as well build it, but you won't because you're a black woman.
At Black women joined forces with in the feminist movement, right? And this is Eldridge Cleaver of the Black Panther Party. And he literally wrote this quote in his book.
Okay, let's see that. I have never seen that quote at all. And I don't know if he's quoting someone else when he says that. So I'm curious. Let's see. Every time or maybe that's his interpretation of how what he would consider to be a sellout black man would think. But let me see. Black woman. All right, so I typed in the first sentence and see if Google has anything on that. Okay, let's see. See the context of this quote. Every time I embrace slavery, every time I embrace a black woman, I'm embracing slavery. When I put my arms around a white woman, well, I'm hugging freedom. The white man forbade me to have white women on pain of death. I will not be free until the day I can have a white woman in my bed. Let's see some more on this. This is interesting. So, yeah, they do have that fear, and apparently it's a legitimate fear. I never thought the way this nigga does, but hey, live and learn. And why does it make you sad to see how everything hangs by such a thin, invisible thread? Because you're a dreamer, an incredible dreamer. Let's see. I'd like to see the paragraphs leading up to that quote. But one thing is for sure, you fear white women. You're going to continue to, you're never going to work with us because you fear in doing so will lead us to white women. Well, how has not doing so worked for you?
So it's like, are we making this up? When have y'all been loyal? This quote, he says, every time I embrace a black...
Wait a minute. Why is this about loyalty? Why is this about loyalty? I told you. Damn it, Shitsy, you're annoying. Fucking female-brained people. Fear what exactly? After I just explained. What they fear, you like, fear what exactly? You're like that soldier that shows up to a war room late saying, who are we fighting exactly? What the fuck? You sound like you don't know who the president-elect is. Like, so who won the election? That's you. Fear what exactly?
Black woman, I'm embracing slavery. And when I put my arms around a white woman, well, I'm hugging freedom. The white man forbade me to have the white woman on pain of death. I will not be free until the day I can have a white woman in my bed. That is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said. he wanted, and this is why he chose the lightest, brightest woman he could get. I forgot to put his wife up here, Kathleen, but you can look her up.
I'll look her up.
Light skin, really light eyes. He wanted to get as close to a white woman as he possibly could.
He could just get a white woman.
So like this is common. This is more common than not. And of course, the response to me saying that is, oh, well, there were black women who dated white men too, as if it can be equalized. And I have a question. How is it that 1 minute black women can't date outside the race in any significant numbers because we're just so undesirable? And the next, you're trying to throw all these supposed black women in my face that dated and married white men during the civil rights era.
Okay, I'm going to stop this right there. I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to pick this up. Actually, I'll just play the next 35 seconds so I can pick it up at the 30-minute mark, and we could do the rest tomorrow.
And one of those women is Lena Horne. Oh, this is Frantz Fanon. And he basically was defending his right to still fight for black people and date white women. So I mean, y'all, this is what they do. But we're the disloyal ones, right?
Two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, so Lena Horne. So my detractors want to throw in all these obvious mixed women like Lena Horne to make the number of black women.
Okay, so let's stop right there. She has something against Lena Horne. All right. So, as she does with every light-skinned women, I'm telling you, like, you know, this whole insecurity that they have is really destroying the entirety of everything ever. So, let's just take a look at Eldridge Cleaver's white woman. Let's just take a look at it. I guess this is her then. Now, y'all know that I coined the word mulatto fro or mulafro, malafro, whatever you want to call it. You know that I quoted that term. She does not have that. This is a afro. The malafro was not invented until 1993. Back then, it was impossible for a mulatto to have a fro of any type. Or a fro that was uniquely hers. There was no mulafro. There was just afros and whatever white people got up their head. She had that. This is her. This is them together. And instead of her being happy, black women want to bitch about it. Oh, damn, she actually looked kind of nice. This woman's 75 years old now, but back in the days, back in the days, just saying. So, hey, and they're still together, looks like, you know, with the babies and crap. Yeah. But it wasn't about power to the people. It wasn't about, all right, you got to get rid of, okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to put you on timeout for saying the J word, fro. That'll cause problems. But yeah. You see, the civil rights movement, you know, all this Ungawa Black Power, all this was for Black women, and same with Chrissie, same with Sinji and the modern pro-Black community. All it is to them, what they're really fighting for is exclusive access to Black men. That's all that matters to them. That is the only thing that has ever mattered to them ever, is exclusive rights to Black men. They don't want to have to compete for my penis. Well, guess what? Guess what? Here it is, God damn it. Here it is. Here it is behind a piece of black tape. And you got to earn it. The only way to gain access to it is to earn it. You got to fucking earn it. You're not going to fish your air around that. You're not going to say, oh, yes, the history, the system, none of that works. None of that works. You must earn this penis. You can't see it because of the black tape. You must earn this penis. There's no way around that, period. Read some comments before I get out of here. Don't spread rumors. Everyone gets the same black man. Lucky them. I don't know. Does this stem from SWP statements? Yeah, all of this stems from SWP statements because what is and shout out to him. Don't get me wrong, he pioneered this. You know, I mean, this is hold on. Let me respond to this. Earn penis when it's free. I'm talking about my penis. I said my penis. My penis. That's the difference. That's the difference. God damn it. You don't listen. God damn it. So SWP, he introduced a concept to black women that black men isn't worthy of submission, not knowing that they were going to take it and run with it, and not they were just going to use that as a lightning rod to justify their behavior. He also invented hypergamy and all this stupid crap, all this stupid crap, when really they just don't want to get down with any program because they fear that it would ultimately work to their detriment. Stats say otherwise. Thousands of non-black women on TikTok say otherwise. Okay, so I don't know what you're talking about, but O'Shea, Duke Jackson, had something recently on that. And I'm going to play that. While I do that, I'll read some comments. It says, comprehension skills lacking hard. Absolutely. Don't ask the question like, and I just explained it. That's ridiculous. Why is this woman's breastfeeding video coming up on my feed? I never pressed anything like that. I like titties, but I don't want to see them milking. What kind of nastiness is that? All right. Okay, next one. Let's see. So everyone gets the same black woman. Good counter. Good counter. She and Tamika are the same person. Well, you just said every black woman is the same person. So he might be onto something. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like button. All right. History. Where's O'Shea? It's Mr. Potato Face. Where's he at? And his buckets of parts. All right, give me a second. I know it was today I seen that video, wasn't it? So why isn't it showing up on my thing? All right. Here we go. Here we go. Said, was she pretty? Apparently she was. Said, now I respect the man. I don't agree with that statement, but, you know, whatever. Well, yeah, I mean, one black man always speaks for the plurality of black men, especially if he says something that's gives them their confirmation bias. But one black woman, it's like, no, you got to look at the system. You got to look at everybody. You got to look at the whole thing. You know, so here's what it is. All right, here we go.
Sometimes love's not gonna be where you at. We found that out from the passport bros. Some brothers had to get all the way on the plane to go over someplace to find love and to find some cheeks. Booty clapping sounds. And that's not just black men. All men can find different opportunities dating outside their race. Even guys from the white community. Now, as you know, white dudes who are of a lower status might have a hard time getting those vanilla cheeks in their community. But hey, I seen
He's really stuck on interracial relationships.
White dudes come to Africa and clean up. Like the broke.
Oh, but according to Austin, that's just a Brazilian thing, and everybody else was selling a fantasy. Yeah, movie night after this.
This white dude might get chosen over some of the richest black dudes simply because they are the white keep it hype. But what if you are a white kid in high school or maybe college and you start dealing with black females? What could happen?
On me, it's some black.
Who you fuck fat? I mean black.
Oh, you didn't hear some black. You didn't hear some black shit.
Listen, bro, I just started last week and I'm already 2 for 2. I'm done with my bro. Like I went 1 for like.
I need this.
Bro, listen, bro. I went like 7 for 146 for the white system.
So he's basically saying that black women are easy. Okay. It's kind of put this whole Chrissie thing into perspective, but okay.
I'm like fucking LeBron. I'm just like, step back. That's great. I'm like, another one.
All right, y'all heard it like I heard it, right? I didn't like the name and the calling of the black bees and all that. And then his little black homeboys is there and they think it's a joke and they're young, you know what I'm saying? You know, but let's just be real about what the guy is talking about. He says since he's been dealing with black women, he's going 2 for 2. Booty clapping sounds. And I'm just gonna be real. That happens all the time, even on the continent of Africa. Story time.
Okay. So yeah, this really puts what she said into perspective. What Chrissie was saying in the perspective. But O'Shea's talking about the black men and what they're notice how okay he is with this, but let Jonathan Majors do some crap. You know, let what's his name? Cooley from No Fugazi podcast, let him get with a white woman. And O'Shea just can't stop making videos about this. See, this is why women gravitate towards the pro-black community, for simple niggas like this. For black men who feel guilty or bad, or will, try to drag black men on the plantation for dating white women, but give black women a pass for doing the same. And the reason why the black men are laughing is because they don't care. Is because they don't care. And I know the swirlers and the investors, their mandate is to try to make us jealous. Like, oh, why are you behaving? Why are you giving it up to him and not me? But what black man has realized is that if you didn't give it up to him, that doesn't mean you'll give it up to us. Just because you submit to me, that doesn't mean you would have submitted to us. So we really didn't lose anything. We know that that's just how you are. And your spiteful nature has got you sucking this man's dick while he brags about 2 for 2. Like you're special at Church's Chicken. Just saying. All right, a couple more comments. Blame them Pookie's not as productive black men. It's not a matter of Pookie. It's not a matter of fetishization. Listen, black men want white men primarily for one reason. And outside of, individual, compatibility situations. They want it because they want to be the first choice of somebody. They want to be the first choice of somebody. So they ruin their reputation with us, the ones that know them the best. So they want an opportunity to recreate themselves in a positive light. That's it. That's all. They're sucking dick in an attempt to recreate themselves in a positive light to other people. But what winds up happening is they're just getting bragged about and high-fived with the very men that you're trying to spite. So they're embarrassing themselves, but that's nothing new now, is it? That's not really a new thing. Embarrassing themselves is like, black women's favorite pastime. Sad and unfortunate, but true. You see going off. That's kind of what I do. All right, let me set up the movie night link so y'all can come through. And gonna wrap this bad boy up. What are we gonna watch, GC? We are going to watch Black Beauty. Since we are talking about Black Beauty and the issues that they have around it, we are going to watch Black Beauty. Tyler Perry flick, which follows another dark-skinned black woman and blah, 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 blah. And of course, she's the victim of the black male patriarchy. Yet we don't have a system. We don't have a patriarchal system, but yet she's the victim of it because, black woman logic. Anyway, let's see. Well, let me say something here. Let me play this. Well, let me see if I can find this before I set up. All right, give me a second, y'all. I'm setting up the movie night. I'm doing a couple of things here. Hit the like button while I do this. All right, let's see. Share. Oh. Okay, so I queued up the link on O'Shea's to really just highlight what's going on, and I also got the link to movie night right here. That I'm going to post in chat room. So, you know, even the detractors, y'all welcome to come through to the Zoom link. All right, now let's go to O'Shea Duke Jackson.
$300,000 followers on TikTok to see.
Wow, that's crazy. I can believe that.
Cape Coral police say Velez stole clothes, cups, and other home goods from the Target on Pine Island Road on October 30th. It was an anonymous tip that helped catch her after a Crime Stoppers post asked people to identify her.
I think that was right to do in that situation because it's not right to steal.
You can see in this video she did have Target bags. Police say she got away with this because she scanned fake barcodes at the self-checkout line.
Okay.
I would, in this day and age, I definitely expect anything out of social media, and I think a lot of things are fake out in the world as far as internet goes. So yeah,
Find it.
Yeah, I would assume that even if you are stealing something, that you shouldn't post about it, because then it makes it okay for all of her followers.
That's ghetto for Target. And then you're going to do a whole lifestyle vlog of you changing around the price codes, and then you vlogged it with the same damn outfit that you had on to steal $500 as if these people was not going to find out. That is hella dusty. Like, the struggle is real, but damn, boo, like, how dusty can you be? And you're actually good looking. I just want to know one thing. Do you need some bail money?
Huh? Oh, O'Shea Duke Jackson is actually capable of being attracted to non-Black women while trying to destroy the careers of men who are also attracted to non-Black women. Let's have a listen at this. This is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, let's take a look. And yes, this is an attractive woman.
Like, the struggle is real, but damn, boo, like, how dusty can you be? And you're actually good looking. I just want to know one thing. Do you need some bail money? Because if you do, planetoshay@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? I can really, well, hold on. I'm supposed to be pro-Black, so.
Yeah, you're supposed to be. But apparently you're not giving Black women the ethnic exclusivity that you are claiming.
But if you message me on the low, I might forget about all that, because you do look all right. But come on, man.
Well, I guess he forgot everything he stood for. Now, am I going to do to him what he has done to Cooley? No. No. Because I'm a mature human being. This man makes a habit of trying to destroy Black men's career for their interest in white women and non-Black women, while secretly lusting after them. It's really all I need to say on that particular subject matter. He won't let it go. So, yeah, that is, somebody say hypocrite, typical shit. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm supposed to be pro-Black. Yeah, you forgot about that, huh? You forgot about that. The difference between you, Jonathan Majors, Cooley, the difference is that they were actually able to attract these women. That's the difference. The difference is that Cooley was actually able to attract his thick white woman. And I'm talking thick. Jonathan Majors was actually able to attract his attractive black woman, or his attractive black woman, because Megan Good can, yes, he's doing good. That man is doing good. He's doing good. So he's actually, these guys are actually able to do it. And that's the real reason why you're coming down on these dudes, because they attract the non-black women that you fantasize about. Just like you fantasize about this shoplifting Target bitch. That's what it's really about. Fellas, there's a jealous girl in Zaza. Oh, baby. That's you. That's you. Hold on, let me see if this is the right channel, because it has like 3 channels. Ah, yeah, here we go. And just in case you think I'm full of shit, let's watch this in the last 4 minutes. No Fugazi takes another L today. All right, let's see. This is just one, but he just constantly kept. Here we go. The white baby mama exposed him for doing this. Alvin Priest destroys Fresh and Fit Miami, but he has a picture of Fugazi here. You know, let's see. Black women to do the unthinkable to No Fugazi podcast. What the fuck? This dude is an absolute lunatic. While lusting after white women and so. And I said it before. I said it in my first video about this, that, you know, it's all about jealousy. The two of you like the same thing. Y'all like the same. And look at this. He clapped Indian cheeks in Dubai. And now he's down bad. Does the unthinkable to his subscribers. No Fugazi podcast does the unthinkable to his subscribers. This is like 5 videos in as many days. 7 days. No Fugazi podcast followers want to F him up. No Fugazi podcast made me regret doing this. He is a freaking lunatic. All while lusting after non-black women his damn self. No Fugazi podcast almost beat up this YouTuber over this. What is he? No Fugazi podcast in my career by doing this. Everlasting. Alvin Priest does the unthinkable to No Fugazi podcast, which is the same as another video. The same title as another video. No Fugazi podcast does the unthinkable to Fresh and Fit. What? Freaking lunatic. Anyway, that's a whole nother tangent that I really can't stand. And this has nothing against this isn't like a personal vendetta against O'Shea. This is just the whole concept of and those of you at movie night, stay tuned. I'm gonna be there in a second. But this is against the whole concept of this is black disunity amongst men. Point blank, period. You know, trying to destroy black men's career on a whim for having the same desires that you do, but unlike you having the ability to act on those desires, really says something. No matter what, men are going to be attracted to attractive women, race aside, just like you. You understand this concept. Anyway, thank everybody for participating. And yeah, it's been real. Gotta go. Gonna pick up the rest tomorrow. I'll be at movie night. The link, once again, is right here. So go ahead and come through. This is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Peace.